little bit closer.
Y'all could move in.
That's what I'm thinking. Come
Be
on,
all
T.
back of the bus. I'm good with that.
See if we can get it. There we go.
It's recording.
Oh, yay. Okay, watch it.
Happy Sukkot.
All right, start it. Let's do it.
Hobie, Gordon, big APN fan, APN administrator, Arkansas Preparedness Network, YouTube. This is going to be a YouTube video, so all you YouTube people should go watch the Arkansas Preparedness Network. Okay,
Lots of good stuff.
lots of good stuff. Dog, if you knock into, if you, oh, so close,
That was close.
so close.
This might be a redo after all.
This here might be a redo, you know. Don't you? There's a fire. Right there's a fire.
Far.
There's a fire
Hey.
right there.
Did you know that the 3 wise men were firefighters?
Explain.
It says in the Bible they came from afar.
That's
Just
an
saying.
Arkansas joke, ain't it?
Just saying.
All right. As always, you have no idea what we're about to talk about.
No.
And why do I do that?
Honesty.
Other than to annoy you? Yeah. Because
Honesty.
I want what comes right off the top of your head. One of y'all booger-eating YouTubers asked me a question in the comments, which generally we answer on Patreon. That's our modus operandi at Patreon, is question answering. But for the sake of saving you $1, we're going to answer this question here. Preparedness as a civic duty. To actually benefit society, what are the effects on society as a whole by people being prepared? And this is why I figured I would ask you guys this, because there's so many answers to this.
Well, I'll be more than happy to go first.
Go first.
First off, it depends on what your definition of preparedness is. If your definition of preparedness is guns and bullets, then it is not a benefit to society. In fact, you will probably just end up dead.
Do you mean hashtag body bag?
Hashtag body
Okay.
bag.
Or hashtag buzzard feed?
That's
Hashtag
it.
buzzer feed, man.
Hashtag buzzard feed.
The official debut of hashtag buzzard
That's
feed.
it. That's it. It's good. It could potentially be a new T-shirt. So, if you are willing to hone your skills and make sure that you have food for more than just you, then it could be an extremely beneficial situation for society as a whole. Especially if you're willing to share your skills and teach your skills to other people.
Good.
You
Good.
like that one, do you?
Yeah.
Well, you
I'm
know,
kind of into instruction and training. I don't know if you noticed.
I
don't
kinda
know if
am
you know,
too.
you know.
So you know.
Anyway,
I am too. Yeah.
so
Hobie will be too.
Tobias Josiah.
So go ahead.
That's your biblical name.
What are we talking about? Preparedness pertaining to society?
And whether it's a benefit to society.
Mom went to the store, baby. She'll be back in a minute.
Well, I guess if you look at my line of preparedness, the way I started,
Talk at the microphone, please.
I'm thinking, I got to put my nuts together here.
Do you want me to go?
Go ahead,
And
go
come
ahead.
back to you?
Well, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
The way I started my preparedness life was basically storm related. You know, we just enough food to get through if we, you know, a winter storm basically. We don't have a lot of winter storms in Arkansas, but we have had some.
Aspen, no, don't be in
And
the
so,
water.
So what we started with was just enough food to get by if the stores were closed for a couple of weeks. So I guess in a community sense, where I'm getting at is as things continued with me and us, you know, chainsaws, things to help out my community. So usually after big storms, I know I'm prepared. I try to go out and help other people or make sure my neighbors don't need any assistance with anything.
Well, let's clarify that a little bit. You're talking about, that you go out and try and help. Are you handing out food, or do you go out with a chainsaw to help people clear roads? I mean, what do you consider help?
Mostly like right after storms, I just make sure there's no trees on nobody. Stuff like that, tornadoes and stuff.
So you meet need with action.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But I guess my point in a roundabout way was that I know my stuff's pretty much squared away. So as long as there's no trees on my house, I can go check on my neighbors, on my community.
So it's a pretty good answer,
Actually, yeah, to break that down in simple terms, his level of preparedness has allowed him to ensure that he and his family are safe so that he is available to go help other people.
I am a big proponent of operating from a position of strength. If I'm good, then I can come help you. I can't come help you if I also need help. So if by preparedness we mean that I have employed forethought and problem-solving skills to make sure that I have food for my family and everybody coming to my location, plus some, say for a year, that I have equipment like chainsaws, which lately haven't been running, and I've had to use yours. Just saying.
What were you saying?
I'm just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Seeing you would know about this if you were on Patreon. Anyway, if I'm operating from a position of strength, then I can actually be a blessing to others. So as a civic duty, and we actually talked about this from the standpoint of being a good Christian and preparedness on Patreon, that as a civic duty, yes, preparedness can absolutely be a good thing. I think the danger is what Gordon was talking about, is that if your estimation of preparedness is you have a rucksack and a rifle and you're going to go scavenge when the balloon goes up, you're not helping anybody, let alone yourself. We know somebody as part of the greater tribe that has a big piece of plywood on the side of his barn that says, "You loot, we shoot." That's a real thing. So operating from a position of strength as a prepper does allow you to have good civic input. I would also say that you have to actually use your stuff to help people, though. Okay, so
Stuff? Question mark?
Stuff, skills, knowledge, abilities, equipment, supplies, resources, okay? You have to actually be willing to bless other people if you're going to try and count what you're doing as a civic duty. If, you brought your log splitter and chainsaw down and you guys split a whole bunch of wood for Grandma yesterday and today, that is a civic duty, and thank you for doing that. But having the stuff or the skills or the knowledge or whatever and not using it does not make you a good contributor to society. So if your definition of preparedness is I have all of these things, they're mine, nobody knows about it, I'm not part of a tribe, not part of a mag, not part of a group, I'm not engaged in the community, I'm not part of the APN networking with other people, I'm not trying to meet people, I'm not setting things up, I'm not going out into the meat world and doing things, then no, you're not. That's not civic responsibility. That's not helping anybody, but maybe you, and I would argue that you're not helping yourself either, because at the end of the day, if it was the three of us and a dull axe and we had to cut wood, we'd figure it out.
Yep.
The chainsaw and the log splitter helps, but my real resources are right here. These are my resources. So if you want to be prepared in a civic way, go build relationships with people, and the rest of the stuff just... Literally, the stuff comes with it. Your stuff literally came with you.
Yep.
So, I think it's more important to have the relationships with real breathing people than to know a guy who has a tractor, but we're not really friends. And maybe if I ask him, he might kind of help me. And
I would say if you know a guy that has a tractor and you think, maybe he might help me if things got really bad, maybe you ought to go knock on his door and say, "Hey,
Before
why don't
things
you
get
come
really
over for a
bad.
barbecue and let's get to know one another?"
Right.
Before
Before
Yes.
things get really bad.
Yes.
So, preparedness is a civic duty. Where do we land on this?
All over it. I would say preparedness is a civic duty if you're doing it what I think most people would consider properly.
Mm.
In not just trying to prepare for yourself, but also trying to prepare for your family, your neighbors, and your friends.
So in a emergency situation mindset, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Amen.
Yep,
Not
I agree
part
with that 100%.
I am a yes asterisk.
Yeah, yeah.
And that asterisk involves anybody who is a lone wolf who's a jerk. Because we know at least one lone wolf who's starting to come out of his cave and meet other wolves. Reluctantly, but we'll get you there, brother. You're coming along. You're doing great. Come here, Wolfie, Wolfie, Wolfie. Come here. Come on. We've got fellowship. Come on. It tastes great. So, yes, asterisk. And if you fall in the asterisk portion of that equation, really do some self-assessment and figure out if it all hits the fan, right? And there's a tree laying on your house. Isn't it great to know some guys who can help you get it off your house? Or the world's ended and the balloon has gone up. I have 3 buckets of food and some seeds and that's it. Guess what, man? You're gonna need some friends. So,
Yep, amen to that.
preparedness is a civic duty. Yes,
Yes.
asterisk.
Yes.
Amen. Shalom.
Shalom.